You are tired in a way sleep has not fixed in years. And tonight, heaven is going to tell you why. Chosen one, rest while you can. Your wish is coming. I need you to hear both halves of that sentence because they are not two messages. They are one instruction and one reason welded together. Rest because it is coming. Not rest in case it comes. Not rest instead of it coming. Rest because it is coming, and because the version of you that receives it cannot be the version that is white-knuckling the wheel. At 2 in the morning. I know what your nights have looked like lately. You lie down and your body stays in the meeting. When you close your eyes, your mind keeps going back to the same page. Checking on the dream like a pot that won't boil. You've prayed about the wish, worked for the wish, and worried about it like a stone in your pocket. At some point, you may not have even realized it, but you started to watch over it around the clock, as if your grip were the only thing keeping it alive. That ends tonight. This is what will end it. Before the end of this message, you will learn the name of the reflex that has been blocking your own blessing flow. From the oldest stories to the newest labs, you will find proof that work on your wish goes on while you sleep, and is at its best when you're not there. You will also be given something useful, a way to teach your tired mind how to rest, which is the one skill you have been trying to burn out. The wish is closer than you think because you are tired. Come with me. Don't look at the fire. Put the pot down and let me show you why. Let me start with the moment that shows this message knows who you are. It happened not long ago, maybe today. You finally had a real free evening with nothing to do, and no one needing you. But you couldn't enjoy a single second of it. As you tried to watch something, your thumb kept going to your phone. As soon as you tried to sit down, you were up cleaning something that didn't need cleaning, and checking something that hadn't changed. You were more tired at the end of the night than during the day, and you couldn't figure out why. There's also a second moment that takes place in the dark. You woke up at an odd time the other night. At some point in the early hours, your body woke you up for no reason. No sound woke you up, and you don't remember having a dream. Your eyes just opened. And in an instant, before you could say anything, your mind was already working on the wish, the numbers, and the conversation. You know which night I'm talking about. That was not just a random choice made by insomnia. That was the watch that showed up for work without being asked. A guard who is so dedicated that they don't even wait for morning. This is why your body stopped being able to rest at some point on your journey. There is still writing on the address, but the road has grown over. And most chosen ones feel bad about this in a quiet way, as if they can't turn off because they're flawed, have broken faith, or aren't thankful. Listen to the first truth in this message. It's not any of those things. It's a habit. It has a name. It has a reason. The most important thing for you is that it has been fixed. All three will be done tonight. And I can already give you a taste of the freedom that's on the way, a sneak peek before the big let go. Being tired is not a price you have to pay for loving your dream. It's what it costs to keep a job that wasn't yours. That difference hit you with a small click, just like the truth does. You've been working extra hours for a job you didn't even hire for. That brings up the question that will be in the background of this whole message. I wanted to follow you. Whose job is it to watch if it was never yours? How does a wish end when the wrong person stops doing work that belongs to someone else? Hold on to that. There is a name for the answer, and it will be here soon. But first, you need to deal with this question. which is already taking shape in your mind. If the wish is truly coming, why would heaven spend an entire message telling me to rest instead of telling me what to do next? Listen carefully, because this is the hinge of everything. In the old accounts, the instruction to rest almost never comes during the middle of a story. It comes at the edge of arrivals, the night before provision. "Rest and eat," said the messenger. The eve of the harvest. "Sit still." The command to stop is not the pause button of heaven. It is the boarding announcement. You are not being benched, picked. You are being prepared for a season that will need you awake. So when this message found you carrying the words "rest while you can," understand what actually landed in your feed tonight. It's not a health tip, it's a timely message. The kind of instructions you only get when the thing you want is now, soon, instead of someday. Take note of this moment. If your spirit just did something at the word soon, kindly type the words I wrote in the notes. 4 words, and mean them as you write them. By the end of this hour, you'll know exactly what you're leaving behind, and who will pick it up right away. What have I been telling you that has been making you so tired? Knowing what it is that is making you tired is half the healing. They are 5 signs that a chosen one has moved on from hard work to something else. That quiet thing that stops them from getting what they want. Count how many people live in your house. The first sign that you can't finish a break. Trips that need trips, days off that you spend circling your duties. When you wake up with a start and a list of things you need to do before you open your eyes. The second sign is that checking has turned into a habit. The dream, the story, the person, and the door. You look at them. The way a worried mother checks on a sleeping baby, not because something has changed, but because the check itself makes you feel calm for a moment. Third, delegating feels like taking a risk. You feel a low hum of dread when you hand something off to someone else, time, or even God, because you know that nothing gets done right unless you're involved. Fourth, your body always has a fist ready. It's the jaw for some of you. Some people say the shoulders, the stomach, or even the hands. There is a muscle in your body that hasn't been fully open in years. Standing watch over a post that wasn't theirs. And fifth, the deepest one, joy, putting things off. You've said the same thing to yourself 100 times. When it comes through, I'll rest. When it's signed, I'll have a party. When we are safe, I will breathe. Peace will always happen at a different time each time. Look around to see who is still here before we go on. The people who needed a tip on how to get things done have already left this message. More people left before the ones who wanted a lottery word for their wish. You read through a message that, so far, has only said how tired you are in an uncomfortable way. The choice to stay is its own signature. There are 2 types of people who can listen to someone describe how tired they are without getting scared. The ones who have given up and the ones who are almost there. I can tell which one you are because you're here. If you have 3 or more of those signs, you should take the diagnosis with care, because it comes with honor. You've never been, or are you lazy? You never lost faith, and you never will. You are someone who really loved something. A family, a calling, or a promise you made to yourself. A watch that no one gave you. And you've been standing for so long that your hands forgot they could open. One more word of honor before we name it. Because you deserve it and don't hear it very often. The things you were watching over made it through. You still cover the family you talked about. The dream you held on to is still alive. Well, moving forward as planned. Your watch didn't go to waste, love. Love was the only thing it knew how to do with the things it had. You won't be getting in trouble tonight. The night watchmen are not ashamed in heaven. They feel better. What your hands have been doing has a name. The second half of your life will not be the same, after I tell you what it is, and how much it has cost you in secret. If the thought of being relieved instead of blamed is making your chest loosen, write down this first mile. In the comments, type "the watch was love" because it was. And giving it the right name is how we honorably retire it instead of tearing it down. That's where we'll go next. Let's give it a name. Start with a picture. Someone swims out to help a man who is drowning. And every trained rescuer knows the most dangerous part of the whole process. It's not the swim out, now is the time to touch. So a man who is drowning can grab. He gets close to the person who came to help him. Pins the arms that could hold him up. They both go under if the grip wins. The person who saved the man doesn't fight him. He waits or lets go of the man, because he knows something that the man who is drowning doesn't know, because he is so scared. It feels like survival in the grip. The grip makes you drown. Look at your hands, chosen one. Years of wanting something with all your heart taught them how to stand. You began to hold the wish in your hands, like a man who is drowning holds on to someone who can save him. You had to check at midnight, practice in your head, refuse to give anything up, and feel guilty whenever your mind wandered to happiness. All of those are finger tightenings. And no one ever told you how it worked physically. Strong grips don't keep wishes alive. They have been received. And having open hands means you can receive. The grip reflex is the name for this. Also, pay close attention to both words. Grip, because that's what it is. What was meant to rest on an open palm was squeezed. And reflex because you didn't pick it. It went off by itself. When you put something valuable in your hand during a storm, the way it closes. You've been telling yourself a harsher story about this. You either said it was being responsible, or that it was anxiety, your own brokenness, or proof that your faith was weak. Both stories are not true. This is the truth. When love thinks it is by itself, it acts like the grip reflex. Think about your own life as you read that again. You quietly came to the conclusion that if you let go, even for a night, the whole thing would fall at some point, but you never said it out loud. What has been putting a lot of stress on your body is that conclusion, not your dream or your calling. This is the contextualizing that makes your history different. Every year of being tired wasn't a sign of weak faith. It showed how much weight you agreed to carry by yourself. It never was how much you loved someone, it was being by yourself. But were you ever really by yourself with it? You can't ask that question with the grip. Which is why I'm going to tell you one of the saddest stories from the past. I want you to see yourself in it. There was a widow, a foreigner, and a woman who had an impossible hope, and could not see how it could come true. It was very brave of her to do her part. She had shown up, worked the fields through a whole harvest, and made her request known, even though it put her in a lot of danger. Then, there was the morning when everything was on the line. Her whole future would be decided in a meeting she wasn't allowed to go to. Imagine how that must have felt. Every part of her would have been screaming for her to do something with her hands, follow, or just watch from afar. And her mentor, an older woman who had lived long enough to know how these things work, told her 4 words that sound almost scandalous to a heart that is gripped. "My daughter, please be still. The man will not rest until he has settled the matter today," she said. That was the reason this message had been building up to all night. Could you see what was being said? Don't stay still because nothing is going on. Stay still, because everything is going on in a room that you can't get to, and is being handled by someone whose dedication to your success doesn't need your oversight. During her break he worked. Gates were being negotiated, names were being called, and a future was being bought while she sat still. The outcome did not take an hour longer because she was still. By sunset, everything was clear. Resting and getting there were not rivals, chosen one. They happened on the same day. This setup has a name. And that name is the second name this message gives you. It's known as the night shift. When you stop working on your wish, it keeps going. It changes hands. Heaven changes all the time. For has never been there for you to strive for, has never helped, and could never make things better. You should compare it to your own record, since you already have proof and haven't checked it yet. Be honest about the doors that have opened for you in the past. The best of them. Did you push yourself to make them? Or did the really important ones swing at odd angles that you didn't plan? Through people you didn't hire and at times you didn't plan. The job that came up because of a speech you almost didn't listen to. The person who found you after you gave up looking. The help that came from a different direction than you were looking. You already have history that shows you worked the night shift. The worker was there, but you never gave them a name. The instruction of tonight stops sounding like a nap at this point, and starts sounding like a change of custody. Heaven is not telling you to quit your job and rest while you can. Heaven is telling you that the job was never yours, and showing you the relief worker who is already there, waiting for you to give them the keys. The wish is kept safe at all times. The guard changes. That's all. And everything that makes you feel scared at that sentence is just your grip reflex talking. There may be a strange lightness in your hands right now that comes from the thought that you could put this down, and nothing would fall. That's not making up stories. That's a reflex meeting its end-of-life notice. Be sure to write down the handover. Rest type I. It comes to me in the comments. These are 4 words that go together, because they are not 2 separate acts, as you are about to see. One opens the way to the other. But there is someone standing in the way of that handover, and we need to be honest about it tonight, or nothing will change. The guardian is guilt. Just as you try to relax, a voice with a clipboard comes over. There are people who depend on you. In the end, sleep is what you need. Do you believe the people you care about can care for your comfort? You've listened to that voice for years, and called it devotion. So let's look at its credentials. The voice says that resting means giving up on the promise you love, and the people you care about. But make sure you follow the logic all the way through. What does the wish need from you on the day it comes true? To see it, your eyes must be clear, your hands must be steady, your heart must be soft enough to enjoy it, and your strength must be whole enough to guard it. What about the part of you that hasn't really rested in years? Does that part of you move toward that person or away from them every week? The guilt says that taking a break takes away your dream. The math shows that the grind is taking it away one tired day at a time. Guilt has been charging you for loyalty, while stealthily taking away the skills your future needs. And the oldest story ends the story in a way that almost no one notices. In the story of creation, God said that the work that was done over 6 days was good. However, the story doesn't say that creation was complete until something else took place. Take a break. The seventh day did not serve as a break from the work. It was the ending. When the Maker was done with everything, they didn't rest. Rest was the last piece, the crown on top. Even a perfect world would not be complete without it. Chosen one, you've been thinking of rest as the money you get when the job is done. Rest has always been an important part of heaven's plans. So take back the power that guilt has been using. Being still doesn't cost anything, and lying down doesn't mean you're leaving anyone. You are not leaving the story when you rest now, on the eve of your wish. You are doing the next chapter that it needs. The one where the receiver is fixed up so it can receive. Just that change will make your evenings better. What follows in this message will change the way you sleep. Before we go on, I want to stop and take a moment to hold something in front of you. You are ready for it now, but not 20 minutes ago. Everything we named tonight. Somewhere in the real world, your grip, watch, and fists live, and in the past few years, amazing new things have been found about what years of gripping do to the mind in research settings that have nothing to do with faith. And the reason why some people's bodies won't let them rest even when they finally tell them they can. Several scientists, led by a doctor in New York, who has worked on this question for 20 years, have found something about the way the mind is built that explains very precisely why spiritually dedicated people get tired. It comes from one of the highest scientific honors, but it's so easy to do every day that it sounds almost fishy. I will tell you exactly what they found later in this message, the right place for it. Hold on to one question for now. What if you can't rest because of a mechanical problem, and not a lack of discipline? Something that was slowly taken from your mind over years of being alert, and that can be given back. Don't answer that question about the mind yet. We're about to go straight there. But first, we need to show you one more part of the grip. The level that explains the most annoying thing that happened to you recently. The nights when you tried. Since you've already tried, right? You told yourself it was okay. You put the phone in the other room, lit the candle, and ran the bath. You did everything the article said. And now you're lying there beyond tired, unable to turn off like a machine whose off switch has been painted over. That experience has made you believe something bad, that you are broken in a way that can't be fixed with normal methods. So pay close attention as I take that conclusion apart. You don't have a broken off switch. You owe money. It turns out that being alert is not a mood. It's a state of matter that gets stronger over time. It's not just a habit for a mind to spend years scanning, checking, and bracing. As a river digs its channel deeper each season, it changes the way its wiring is set up to fit the habit. When you finally chose to rest, you had already been digging for 10 years. You gave people a choice in a fight that had been building up. This is why I keep losing my willpower. This is why the bath and the candle keep losing. You can't make a trench look better. You can't make yourself feel tired. You need to rest. It is a skill you can learn again. And unlike moods, capacities are rebuilt mechanically through repetition, using the same patient physics that dug the hole in the first place. Remember that word, because it's about to become the most hopeful word in this whole message. Some of you are already writing the objection, and I want to deal with it right away, because it is the best objection in the world. You think that my situation is different. You have no idea what I do for a living. I need to be with my kids before the sun comes up. There are 2 jobs for me. Rest is a luxury for people who have plenty, and I haven't picked one. I take that seriously, And I'm not going to insult you by acting like your calendar doesn't exist. So pay close attention to the difference. This message doesn't talk about hours when it talks about rest. It has to do with grip. Some people never open their hands, even when their calendars are empty. There are also moms of 4 who know how to keep their minds calm while carrying a heavy load. They don't have different amounts of free time. It's custody. Who knows what will happen while they work? If someone works the night shift, does housework, and takes care of kids, they can still be at peace. Because other people are responsible for how things turn out. Your wish needs that kind of rest. The kind that flows beneath a busy life like water in the ground. And that kind doesn't need you to change your plans first. You need to change your hands first. Let's change them physically right now, since your body learns faster than your words. If it's safe, make a fist with one hand wherever you are. Hold it like you've been holding the wish and squeeze it the same way. Then I'll tell you what you are holding. What you've been holding back is in that fist. The schedule you've been using has made people afraid that nothing will happen unless they make it so. Just closing your hand is a lot of work. When you multiply that by years, you get how tired you are. Open it slowly now. Put your palm up and your fingers should be soft. Say something to yourself as it opens. How things turn out depends on other people. Now feel the strange mix of sadness and relief coming over you. That makes sense. When they hand over, they always travel together. Take a moment to look at that open hand. There was no fall. There was no death. The wish didn't go away just because you straightened your fingers. You will be standing with your palms open for the rest of your journey. And your body has just learned how to handle it. Write down what that small ceremony meant to you, if it moved you. Enter, "My hands are open," in the box below. Say it with your palm still open, since you should be the first person to see your new posture. We're now halfway through, and I owe you a sneak peek, because what's left is bigger than what's come before. You now understand the grip, the night shift, the guilt, and the trench. It's been diagnosed. All of what comes after this is restoration. You will get the mechanical answer to the trench in a few minutes. The one that doesn't depend on your willpower. You will stand inside the morning your wish comes true. And know what it's like to be a rested receiver. And at the very end, I will give you a commissioning that changes the meaning of the word rest. For the rest of your life. You can still read the best part of this message. But before you do any of that, please stand with me for a moment. It's a normal evening 6 months from now. And you're sitting somewhere comfortable in your own home. The miracle comes next. No one nearby can see. You're just sitting there, not scrolling, scanning, or going around and around your responsibilities like a satellite that can't land. Don't look away from the pot while it's on the fire. There is no longer a hum in your chest that sounds like a transformer. And when it's quiet, you remember things you haven't thought about in years. How your food really tastes. The way light moves across a wall in the evening. The sound of someone you care about laughing in another room. And your first thought is to enjoy it. Not think about what needs to be done. This is not the life of someone who gave up, chosen one. This is the pose of someone who turned in their shift at night, and found that the world kept turning. The wish kept traveling. And it was okay to be human again. The distance between you and that night is not measured by what you've done. One handover and one rebuilt capacity are used to measure it. Now, because open hands need a place to practice, here is a short evening rule. 10 minutes, 3 steps, and no tools. Call it the ritual of handing over. Step 1. Teen, say the name of the shift change out loud at the end of the day. Tell them straight out, my shift is over. The night shift is in charge. The first week will feel like a play. Say it anyway, because what you say is what your mind believes. Step 2 is to put the reports away. Write down on paper everything that's on your mind for 2 minutes. Every worry, every job, and everything that isn't done. You're not able to solve them. You're moving them from your head, which wasn't made to store things, to a page that doesn't need sleep. Step 3. Close with your palm open. The same move you learned today. 1 slow minute, shoulder down, palm up, 1 sentence. How things turn out depends on other people. That's the whole dance. 10 minutes, every night. That's why it's more important than its size. Every time you do it again, you push more dirt back into the trench. You don't want to feel rested the next day. You are repaving the road to a place your body forgot. And passes, not wishes, are what rebuild roads. Before we get to the end, let's have an honest word. Because you trust me so far, and trust deserves the truth. I can't tell you when your wish will come true. I don't know. And anyone who says they do is probably telling you a lie. What I know is the pattern. The same pattern that shows up in all the stories, from the oldest to the newest. The reliable order to rest comes before the arrival. While the stillness and the settlement often happen at the same time, they do so during the same season. I'm not going to promise you a calendar. I promise you a run through. You don't rest when nothing is going on. The last part of the story before arrival is called rest. Take a look at yourself and notice something. You who are still here, that long after I said to slow down. Not many people make it this far into an hour that doesn't offer any shortcuts or ways to hustle. You've been listening for about an hour now. That's not a joke either. There's a soul there that knows its own medicine. Tonight, you turned into someone who could wait for the truth. No matter what happens tomorrow. And that person is already nearer to the wish than you were today when you were running. Which finally brings us back to the question I asked you to think about. You might not be able to rest because of a mechanical problem, or because you have been too alert for years. In either case, you can get it back. That loop needs to be closed now. And finally, I have a question of my own. Do you remember what it was like to be a kid and fall asleep? Really think about it. It wasn't a project to sleep. Rest wasn't a method. You worked hard. You fell. You felt different when you woke up. Stillness was the default setting for you. Somewhere between that kid and this worn-out adult, something changed. Even more than your job was at stake. Now you know this. To put it simply, your tiredness is not a sign of a weak spirit. This grip reflex was formed from years of loving someone by yourself. And it works on a mind that has been on high alert for a long time. This is what that information points to. It doesn't take more work to fix it. It is restoration of machinery. Every day, slowly, over and over, just like the trench was dug. This is who you are. Not a lost believer, but a receiver about to receive something whose only task now is to connect to the internet again. You really do feel clear right now. But knowing what rest is, and being able to rest are two different things. You already have one, and the other one has an address on it. All the steps you've taken tonight have led you to that door. What really fixes a mind that's been strained? You've already failed 100 times at willpower. What do you do tomorrow that doesn't depend on that? The lab was where the answer came from. It has a Nobel Prize in its family tree, and it only takes 8 minutes of your time. Do you remember what I told you to think about when you were a kid? and you wanted to fall asleep. This is why that memory is so important. It's not nostalgia, that's proof. Dr. Roger Sperry, a researcher, won the Nobel Prize in 1981 for showing how the mind is really put together. Two hemispheres that are meant to work together as a single synchronized instrument. Scientists call it whole brain activation, when both halves of the brain fire at the same time. This makes your mind do naturally what it hasn't been able to do on its own. It calms down. It lets go. It's not being pushed down while it rests. And the research that came after his work found the number that tells you about your childhood. Testing shows that about 98% of young children are working at levels that are considered creative genius. Minds fully in sync, able to play and rest at the same time. The setting from the factory that you remember. Not even 1 in 1,000 adults keep it. It gets worse for everyone in modern life. But being alert for years on end wears it down faster than anything else. The looking, the bracing, the blocking, and the perfect grip. It took an hour to name this message. It digs a trench between the two hemispheres, throwing them out of sync and locking the mind in a narrow, foggy, always on state. I want you to see the whole picture at once as the pieces come together. You're not lacking discipline, because you can't turn off. The reason the child in you could rest easily, but the adult you can't, is that you haven't lost your innocence. It is no longer in sync. There was never paint on top of the off switch. People who loved it alone for years messed up the machinery that makes it work. And machines that were taken out of tune can be tuned up again. That's not a figure of speech. That's the answer I promised you would be pretty simple. Don't go any further until you say that reframe. It gets rid of 10 years of self-blame in a single sentence. You never got out of line. You weren't in tune. If that goes where I think it goes, write the claim where you can see yourself making it. Type "it's moving" in the comments, because it's the wish on its way. And now the receiver's repair. You can't wait for either one of them to stop moving. One person who can best describe what that retuning looks like is a woman from California. Her life was like something that was happening to her while she watched from behind glass. She had been in the always-on state for years. Prayer, writing in a journal, and meditation were all things her spiritual community suggested she try. But her body still wouldn't come down from the watchtower. She said something cleared up about 10 days into what I'm about to describe. Her word was very clear. Something that had been blocked was now open. The stress that she couldn't see went away, and rest stopped being a battle she lost every night, and became a place she could just walk into. The same story is told by a man from Texas from a different door. A man who runs a business and is a father of 2. He has been carrying his whole family on his back for years. He had been so hot all the time that prayer felt like talking into a wall, and sleep gave him hours, but didn't help him feel better. After 2 weeks, he woke up one morning to find that the fog was gone. He said that his mind was finally working on all the things it was meant to work on. He had stopped hearing the static because he was used to it. Then one morning there was a good kind of silence. In what they found, neither one of them found a retreat, a supplement, or another way to spend their already busy evenings. A group of neuroscientists led by in New York City's Dr. Daniel Barron built it. His team took more than an hour of clinical neural sync technology, the kind of whole brain activation protocol used in certain settings, and turned it into an 8-minute targeted auditory sequence that people could listen to every day with their eyes closed and headphones on. That's the whole practice. The smart switch is what they call it. And take a moment to think about what those 8 minutes are. They are taking a break. A real, physical rest with eyes closed. There is only one act, and that is the practice. You don't add anything else to your day. You finally take the one that your doctor has been telling you to take the whole time. Even though you're not aware of it, the sequence starts to work in the background. Getting your 2 hemispheres back into the rhythm they were in when you were at rest. There is no skill to learn or mantra to repeat. You are good to go if you can close your eyes for 8 minutes. It's the night shift idea applied to your own thoughts. You stop, but the work keeps going. If you've tried listening products before and didn't feel anything, Dr. Barron makes that clear. A lot of what is going around only talks about a small part of the picture. This aims for synchronization across the whole brain, which is a different way of doing things, and a different kind of result. That voice inside you that says this sounds too easy. Think about the trench. It was dug by doing it over and over, not by making it dramatic. Please know that every seed you plant in this mission grows into a torch that shines in someone else's darkness. Whether by buying a coffee, making a donation, or becoming a member of our community, does not go to a channel. Your actions are supporting a divine mission to save lost souls. But more than your support, we want your presence. When you head to our community through the link in the description or the pinned comment, you aren't just visiting a site, you are entering a community of like-minded believers. This is a sanctuary where you can post your prayer requests, lift up the burdens of others, and engage in daily discussions with a family that speaks the language of faith. Whether you are joining one of our membership tiers for deeper study, sowing a seed of faith, or simply joining our daily morning prayers, you are helping us build a global altar of worship. Heaven moves through willing voices, but it grows through a community that stands together. Each gift you give acts as living water for those in our community seeking healing and hope. Give, and it will be given to you, is the promise that sustains our shared mission. I invite you now to step out of the shadows and into this circle of prayer. Come with purpose, join the conversation, and plant your seed in fertile ground. Let's open the heavens together. Release your seed today, join our community, and see what God brings back into your life. To the chosen one. Rest has been like money you get when the job is done. Rest has always been a big part of how heaven works. So take back the power that guilt has been using. It's free to be still. And lying down doesn't mean you're leaving someone. When you rest now, on the eve of your wish, you won't be leaving the story. You're writing the next chapter it needs. The one where the receiver is set up to receive. That one change will make your nights better. The next part of this message will change the way you sleep. Let's take a moment to hold something in front of you before we move on. That was not the case 20 minutes ago. You are ready for it now. Everything we named tonight, your grip, watch, and fists live somewhere in the real world. Also, amazing new things have been learned about what years of gripping do to the mind in studies that have nothing to do with faith in the last few years. It's also the reason why some people can't rest even when their bodies tell them to. A group of scientists, led by a doctor in New York, who has been working on this problem for 20 years, have found something about the mind that perfectly explains why people who are very spiritually dedicated get tired. It comes from one of the most prestigious scientific awards, but it's so simple to do every day that it sounds almost like a trick. What they found will be in the next part of this message. which is the right place for it. Just one more question, please. What if you can't rest because of a broken machine? And not because you're not disciplined. You can get back something that was slowly taken from your mind over years of being alert. Don't answer that question about the mind just yet. We're going to get to it right away. First, though, we need to show you one more part of the grip. The level that explains the most annoying thing that recently took place to you. When you tried the nights. You have already tried, right? You told yourself it was fine. You put the phone somewhere else, lit the candle, and started the bath. You did everything the article said. And now you're so tired that you can't turn off like a machine that has had its off switch painted over. You think that bad thing happened to you made you believe that you are broken in a way that can't be fixed normally. So pay close attention as I break down that conclusion. The off switch is not broken. You need to pay money. It turns out that being alert is not a state of mind. It is a state of matter that gets stronger over time. People don't just scan, check, and brace their minds for years on end. Every season, a river digs its channel deeper. So it changes how its wiring is set up to fit that pattern. You had been digging for 10 years before you decided to take a break. People had a choice in a fight that was getting worse. This is why I can't keep my resolve. That's why the candle and the bath keep losing. There is no way to make a trench look better. You are not able to make yourself tired. Take a break. You can learn how to do it again. This is different from moods because capacities are rebuilt mechanically through repetition, using the same patient physics that made the hole in the first place. Don't forget that word. It's going to be the most hopeful word in this whole message. I want to talk about the objection right away, because it is the best objection in the world. Some of you are already writing it. You think things are different from me. You have no idea what I do for a living. Before the sun comes up, I need to be with my kids. I have 2 jobs to do. People who already have a lot don't need rest, and I haven't chosen one. Trust me, I mean that. And I'm not going to insult you by ignoring your calendar. So pay close attention to what's different. It doesn't say how long to rest in this message. It has to do with holding on. Some people never raise their hands, even when they don't have anything planned. Some moms of 4 know how to stay calm, even though they have a lot on their plates. They have the same amount of free time. You have custody. What could happen while they work? People can be happy even if they work the night shift, do housework and watch the kids. The way things turn out is the fault of other people. That kind of rest, the kind that flows like water in the ground under a busy life, is what your wish needs. That kind doesn't need you to change your plans first. First, you need to wash your hands. Since your body learns faster than your words, let's change them right now. If you feel safe, put out one hand and make a fist. You should hold it and squeeze it the same way you did with the wish. I will then tell you what you have in your hand. That fist holds what you've been holding back. With the way you've been planning things, people are scared that nothing will happen unless they make it happen. It takes a lot of work to just close your hand. You know how tired you are when you multiply that number by years. Now slowly open it. Hands should be soft when you put your palm up. As it opens, say something to yourself. Things happen because of other people. Now feel the strange mix of sadness and relief that's coming over you. That makes sense. They always go on the trip together when they hand over. Look at that open hand for a moment. There was no drop. There was no death. The wish wasn't gone, because you put your hands straight up. For the rest of your trip, you will stand with your palms open. Your body has just learned how to deal with that. If that small ceremony moved you, write down what it meant to you. Type, "My hands are open," where it says, box below. You should be the first person to notice your new posture, so say it with your hands still open. There's more to come, and I owe you a sneak peek, because the rest is bigger than the beginning. You now know what the grip, the night shift, the guilt, and the trench are all about. It has been identified. Everything that comes after this is restoration. The mechanical answer to the trench will be given to you soon. The one you don't have to force yourself to do. When your wish comes true, you will stand inside and know what it's like to be a quiet receiver. And finally, I will give you a commissioning that will change the way you use the word rest. From now on, you can still read this message's best part. But please stand with me for a moment before you do any of those things. Here we are, 6 months from now, on a normal evening. You're sitting somewhere nice in your own home. The next thing is the miracle. No one nearby can see. You're not scrolling, scanning, or going back and forth between your tasks like a satellite that can't land. You're just sitting there. While the pot is on the fire, don't take your eyes off of it. The hum in your chest that sounds like a transformer is gone. You remember things you haven't thought about in years, when it's quiet. What your food tastes like in real life. The way evening light moves along a wall. You hear someone you care about laughing in another room, and your first thought is to enjoy it. This is not the life of someone who gave up, chosen one. When this person turned in their shift at night, they saw that the world kept turning. The wish kept traveling, and it was okay to be human again. What you've done doesn't tell how far away you are from that night. It is measured by one hand over, and one rebuilt capacity. Here's a short evening rule for open hands, because they need a place to work out. There are 3 steps, 10 minutes, and no tools needed. This is the act of handing over. Step 1: At the end of the day, say out loud the name of the shift change. Tell them straight out, my shift is over. The night shift is in charge. It will feel like a play the first week. No matter what, say it because that's what your mind thinks. The second step is to put the reports away. For 2 minutes, write down everything that's on your mind. Every worry, task, and unfinished business. You can't figure them out. They are being moved from your head, which wasn't designed to hold things, to a page that doesn't need to sleep. Third, close your hand with your palm open. The move you learned today. 1 slow minute, palm up, shoulder down, 1 sentence. Things happen because of other people. That's the whole dance. 10. Every night for 10 minutes. That's why it's more important than how big it is. More dirt gets pushed back into the trench each time. This is not how you want to feel the next day. You're paving a new path to a place your body has forgotten. Thoughts, not wishes, are what make roads better. Let's have an honest word before we end. Because you trust me so much, and people who trust you deserve the truth. I do not know when your wish will come true. I have no idea. And anyone who says they do is most likely lying. The pattern is what I know. It's the same pattern that appears in all the stories, old and new. The reliable order to rest comes before it gets there. It is during the same season that the stillness and the settlement happen most of the time. I'm not going to promise you a calendar. I promise to go over it again. You don't rest when there's nothing to do. Before you get there, the last part of the story is called rest. Look at yourself and notice something. You people who are still here after I told you to slow down. Not many people get this far into an hour. That doesn't give them any easy ways to get things done. This has been going on for about an hour. Also, that's not a joke. There is a soul there that knows how to heal itself. You changed tonight so that you could wait for the truth, no matter what tomorrow brought. That person is already closer to the wish than you were when you started running today. That brings us back to the question I asked you to think about. One reason you might not be able to rest is that something is broken, or because you have been too alert for years. You can get it back either way. Now is the time to close that loop. Finally, I have a question of my own. Do you remember what it was like to fall asleep as a child? Think about it very carefully. It wasn't a plan to sleep. Rest wasn't a plan. You worked very hard, you slipped. The way you felt when you woke up was different. Stillness was the setting that you were born with. Something changed between that kid and this old, tired adult. It was even more important than your job. You now know this. Plain and simple. Being tired doesn't mean you're weak. When you love someone by yourself for a long time, this grip reflex forms. It works on a mind that has been on high alert for a long time. That information points to this. Fixing it doesn't take more work. It's fixing up machines, like the trench was dug, every day, slowly, over and over. This is what you are. No, not a lost believer. A person who is about to receive something, and only needs to connect to the internet again. Right now you really do feel good. But it's not the same thing to know what rest is as being able to rest. One of them is already yours, and it has an address on it. You've reached that door after all the steps you've taken tonight. What really makes a mind that's been stressed better? You've already tried with 100 times and failed. What are you going to do tomorrow that doesn't depend on that? The answer came from the lab. It only takes 8 minutes of your time, and has a Nobel Prize in its family tree. Hey, remember when you were a kid, and you wanted to fall asleep? I told you to think about something. This is why it's so important to remember that. Yes, it's not nostalgia, that proves it. In 1981, Dr. Roger Sperry won the Nobel Prize for his work on understanding how the mind works. Two halves that are meant to work together, like a single instrument that is in sync. It's called whole brain activation, when the brain's two halves fire at the same time. This makes your mind do something it couldn't do on its own before. It gets better. It lets go. While it rests, it's not being pushed down. And the number that tells you about your childhood was found by after his work. Scientists have found that about 98% of young children are working at levels that make them creative geniuses. They can play and rest at the same time, because their minds are fully in sync. The factory setting that you remember. Not a single adult in 1,000 keeps it. These days, everything is getting worse for everyone. But being alert for years on end damages it more quickly than anything else. The perfect look, the perfect brace, the perfect block, and the perfect grip. Choosing a name for this message took an hour. It tears a hole between the two hemispheres, which makes them out of sync, and keeps the mind in a narrow, fuzzy, always on state. As the parts come together, I want you to see the whole picture at once. Because you can't turn off, it's not because you lack discipline. Because you haven't become as bad as you used to be. The child in you could rest easy while the adult you can't. It's not in sync anymore. The off switch was never painted over. The machinery that makes it work got messed up by people who loved it by themselves for years. It is also possible to tune up machines that were out of tune. That's not a figure of speech. That's the easy answer I said I would give you. You can't go any further until you say that switch. In one sentence, it gets rid of 10 years of being self-lame. You were always in line. You were not tuned in. If that goes the way I think it does, write the claim in a way that you can see yourself making it. In the comments, type "It's moving because the wish is on its way, and the receiver is now being fixed." You can't wait for them to stop moving. An American woman is the best person to describe what that returning looks like. Her life felt like something she was watching happen from a window. She had been always on for many years. She was told to pray, write in a journal, and meditate by her spiritual community, but her body still wouldn't come down from the watchtower. She said something got better after 10 days of what I'm about to talk about. It was very clear what she meant. Something that wasn't possible before was now possible. The stress she couldn't see went away, and rest stopped being a battle she lost every night. Now she could just walk into rest. A man from Texas tells the same story through a different door. A man who has 2 kids and runs a business. Everyone in his family has been riding on his back for years. He had been so hot all day that praying was like talking to a wall. Sleeping for hours didn't make him feel better. He woke up one morning after 2 weeks to find that the fog was gone. He said that his mind was finally working on everything it was supposed to work on. He wasn't hearing the static anymore, because he was used to it. Then one morning there was a nice quiet. What they found didn't give them a break, something extra, or another way to spend their already busy evenings. It was made by a group of neuroscientists led by Dr. Daniel Barron in New York City. It's a whole brain activation protocol that is used in some settings. His team turned more than an hour of clinical neural sync technology into an 8-minute targeted auditory sequence that people could listen to every day, with their eyes closed and headphones on. That's the whole thing. It's known as the smart switch. Now think about what those 8 minutes are. They're taking a break, a real rest with your eyes closed. The practice is the only act. You don't make your day better in any way. The one your doctor has been telling you to take all along finally gets taken. It starts to work in the background, even though you're not aware of it. It gets your 2 hemispheres back into the rhythm they were in when you were at rest. You don't need to learn a skill or repeat a mantra. If you can close your eyes for 8 minutes, you're good to go. You can use the idea of the night shift to describe your own thoughts. The work doesn't stop when you do. Dr. Barron makes it clear if you've tried listening products before and didn't feel anything. A lot of what's being said only covers a small part of the picture. In a different way and with a different outcome, this aims for synchronization across the whole brain. That voice in your head that says, "This seems too easy. Think about the trench." They liked it when they did it over and over, not when they made it sound dramatic. As this awakening grows inside you, know that helping with this mission is not a joke. It is a sign from God. You can support this work through the link in the description or the pinned comment. Whether by buying a coffee, making a donation, or becoming a member of our Ko-Fi community. By doing so, you become part of Jesus' plan to save souls who are still stuck in fog. Every seed turns into light that fights against darkness. If you water others, you will be watered yourself, Jesus says. This is not history, it is a living promise about your future. Come into this moment with faith and a plan. What God has already planned for your life can be unlocked through your giving. You are about to enter your divine future. But remember, this breakthrough is not for you alone. Your testimony is the bridge someone else will use to reach their own miracle. Archangel Michael is inviting you to visit community through the link in the description or the pinned comment. Whether by buying a coffee, making a donation, or becoming a member of our community, does not go to a channel. Your actions are supporting a divine mission to save lost souls. By joining our like-minded community, you are no longer praying in isolation. You are adding your voice to a global sanctuary where we discuss the Word daily and stand in the gap for one another. This is not poetry when Jesus says, "Give, and heaven will open over you." On this platform, every seed you plant turns into oil for your destiny, fire for your calling, and a hedge of safety for your family. Now is your time. Step into our community prayer wall, share your heart, and as you give, watch God multiply what you let go of. Let's finish this journey together. Visit our community now, join the family, and see your heavens open. Before we get to the end of this powerful story, let's reflect on this deep truth. You did not find this message by accident. This is a divine appointment meant specifically for you. You are being invited into a protected, faith-filled community at the link in the description and pinned comment, a place where divine abundance is not just a hope, but a promise built on the Word. By heading to the site right now, you are unlocking access to a sacred community of like-minded believers. When you join our membership tiers, you gain immediate entry to powerful content, daily devotions, and divine insights that are hidden from the world. This is your chance to enter a sanctuary, where you will receive spiritual guidance, unwavering support on our prayer wall, and speedy progress toward your destiny. Do not let this moment of destiny pass you by. Your breakthrough is waiting. Join our inner circle through the exclusive link in the description. This is how you guarantee you never miss the personalized messages and spiritual warfare tools meant to elevate your life. If you feel called to deepen your connection, the link is waiting for you in both the pinned comment and the description. For those who want to amplify this work and carry the light home, you can find our guided ebooks and Bibles in the pinned comment. Whether you join as a member or sow a seed through our resources, your presence and energy change the world. Take the step. Your abundance awaits.